Welcome to AITV News. The United States and Vietnam have just struck a trade deal that on paper looks straightforward, but it lands right in the middle of the economic tug-of-war between Washington and Beijing, and it puts Vietnam squarely in the crosshairs. On July 2nd, 2025, President Donald Trump announced the agreement. Here's the headline: U.S. goods will enter Vietnam tariff-free, while most Vietnamese exports to America will face a new 20% tariff. That may sound punitive, but it's actually a lifeline. Hanoi was staring down a threatened 46% levy, so 20% feels like a discount. The real kicker is a 40% tariff on any product transshipped through Vietnam. Transshipment is the practice of routing goods, in this case largely from China, through a third country, relabeling them to dodge U.S. duties. Washington argues that Chinese firms have been using Vietnam as a backdoor into the American market, and this clause aims to slam that door shut. Why now? As the U.S.-China trade war dragged on, thousands of companies shifted production from China to Vietnam. Vietnamese exports to the United States soared, and so did suspicion that many items stamped "Made in Vietnam" were mostly Chinese components with minimal tweaks. America's trade deficit with Vietnam ballooned to more than $123 billion last year, adding fuel to the fire. Who wins and who loses? The Trump administration claims a victory for its reciprocal trade playbook: reduce deficits and punish loopholes. U.S. brands that genuinely moved production to Vietnam, like Nike and Lululemon, avoid the harsher 46% rate and gain tariff certainty at 20%. Chinese manufacturers lose a convenient route around U.S. tariffs, and Beijing has already warned it will retaliate. And then there's Vietnam, caught in the middle. The United States is its largest export market, accounted for roughly 30% of the economy. Vietnam couldn't afford to call Washington's bluff. Yet China is its biggest overall trading partner and an essential supplier of raw materials and parts. Enforcing the deal means Hanoi must police factories with Chinese ties, an act that could anger a powerful neighbor. That high-wire act is what diplomats in Hanoi call bamboo diplomacy, firm yet flexible enough to bend with both winds. Enforcement will be messy. How much of a product must be made in Vietnam before it qualifies as Vietnamese? Every shoe sole, circuit board, and textile roll may now invite scrutiny from customs officials. Neighboring countries like Thailand and Malaysia are watching nervously. If the U.S. sees this formula as a success, they could be next in line. Finally, all eyes turn to Beijing. Will China retaliate economically against Vietnam or seek new loopholes elsewhere in Southeast Asia? The answer could ripple through supply chains worldwide. A deal designed to tidy up one facet of the U.S.-China trade war has instead opened a complex new chapter, one where Vietnam must balance two superpowers while keeping its own economy on track. We'll keep watching. You're up to date on AITV News. Thanks for joining us.